The next Battlefield title, which is already confirmed and officially scheduled for the end of 2018, might actually turn out to be a Battlefield Bad Company 3. This time the leak I'm going to refer to is quite a serious thing, considering the fact that it comes from a YouTuber called Almighty Duck, and if you guys don't know, this guy made a video about Battlefield 1 back in March of 2016. Notice that at this point in time we had no idea of what next Battlefield game will be about, and this guy called precisely the stuff that's going to be in it. If you want to check out his videos and what he exactly said, those will be linked in the description, but in short, in 2016, before we even got to see the trailer of Battlefield 1, this guy knew precisely what will be implemented to the game. He knew about War Pigeon's game mode. Notice, we didn't know about this until Battlefield 1 got released. He knew about elite classes, he knew about classes in general and that there will be 6 of those. He knew about vehicles, light tanks, heavy tanks, about bomber planes, fighter planes. He knew all of that. And it's not like you can exactly guess so many things. It just doesn't work this way. Also, he knew that Westy, along with couple other big YouTubers, were invited by EA to test Battlefield 1 and give their feedback. And why exactly am I referring to Westy? Well, he talked about the exact same situation in his video. I'm not really sure which video it was, but I suppose it was the one in which he talked about how he got invited to present Battlefield 1 and all of that stuff. Basically, he was invited to test out Battlefield 1 when DICE didn't even have a name for this game yet. They weren't really sure if they want to go with Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 5, which proves that all of this has happened a long time before we even got to see the trailer. Anyway, without making the introduction any longer, let's get to the actual leak. Almighty says that the game will be based around Vietnam conflict, and that the whole game won't exactly be historically accurate to the Cold War. Even if it would be, it was still quite a long time for a conflict, and DICE would have so many options to go with in terms of content. As for the game modes he mentioned, of course he talked about Conquest, but I think it's safe to assume that Conquest will make it into every single Battlefield game that will ever be released, since it's a classic mode. Everyone wants to play it and everyone enjoys it. Other than that, the most iconic game mode of Battlefield Bad Company 2 will also make it to the next Battlefield game, and that being Rush. On top of that, there will be Operations, which are pretty much mix of Rush and Conquest. Interestingly though, he also mentioned that Capture the Flag game mode will come back. If it does, I just hope that it will be designed better than in previous Battlefield titles, because it died out pretty quickly there. On top of that, we will get to play Team Deathmatch along with Domination, and a 5v5 game mode which is similar to Battlefield 4's Obliteration. And this is what makes me skeptical about this leak a bit, because why would we get 5v5 game mode, which clearly indicates that it's based around competitive gameplay, if we all know that current Incursion's testing is made for Battlefield 2018. As for the maps, those will be tighter and focused more around the infantry gameplay, similar to the Grand Bazaar from Battlefield 3, which I think is great. Majority of community actually wants to play infantry, and in Battlefield 1 we don't really have infantry only maps or maps properly designed for the infantry gameplay. And while I get it that there is tons of new vehicle users out there, I think that there should be a balance between having maps designed for infantry and maps designed for vehicle gameplay. In Battlefield 1, even maps designed purely for the infantry still have tanks on them. Look at Tsaritsyn or Nivel Knights. As for the weapons and their customization, he says that it will be similar to Battlefield 4's system, and I'm not gonna lie, I like this idea. Even though some of you might argue that we had too many attachments in Battlefield 1 and some of them did exactly the same, I know this was a bad thing and I do agree with this. However, I still want to have the option of customizing my weapon and changing its statistics. We've all seen that Battlefield 1's idea for variants of each weapon didn't really work out that great, because while yes, you have different variants which give different statistics and can be used in different scenarios, in most cases only one of them is actually viable to use and other ones are just trash. Does anyone use MP18 Experimental? Not really. But the customization doesn't end here, we will also get to customize our characters and vehicles. And as for those, we will see a comeback of modern tanks, LAVs, and most importantly for me personally, helicopters. Guys, you would not believe how much I miss flying helicopters in Battlefield games. Naturally, I know that you could say, go back to previous Battlefield games and fly over there. Why not do it? Well, I know I could do it, but then again, it's kind of boring after a couple thousands of hours in those games. Classic 4-class system known from Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3 will also make it back, and we will end up with the same 4 classes that we used to play with, that being Assault, Engineer, Support and the Recon. And I also have to say that I enjoy the idea of having classes back to the old system. How many times have you guys seen the support guy repairing you, or how many times are you getting revived by medics after DICE gave them weapons for medium to long range engagements? Some kind of microtransaction system will be implemented, but I don't think it will be similar to Battlefront 2, so there is nothing to worry about for now, especially considering the fact that even Battlefield 1, Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3 were called microtransactions games because you could either buy battle packs or kit unlocks. The gameplay will be much faster and skill gap will be a lot higher. The thing I've been praying for ever since Battlefield 1 was released, it will finally be back. Well, considering that this leak is actually true. It could be, but there is a couple of things that make it suspicious. First and most importantly, it all sounds too good to be true. I don't want to be considered pessimistic, but if you take a step back and get a wider perspective on the whole thing, you will notice that the game he's talking about literally fulfills all of the things that players have been asking about for years. It seems like the game is just perfect and everything about it is just great. Not only we are getting customization, which everyone complains about in Battlefield 1, we also get normal vehicle gameplay, we get higher skill gap, only the best game modes will be implemented, like all of those things are pretty much the things that everyone would want from the game, but we all know it's never going to be perfect. And in that case, every single aspect actually is perfect, or at least seems to be. Anyway guys, I'm not really sure what to think about this. You know, I could be wrong, this guy could be wrong, and we could end up with Second World War instead of the Vietnam. But let me know, what do you guys think about this whole situation? Do you think the leak is true, or maybe it isn't? Write down the comment, and as always, if you enjoyed, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and I see you on the battlefield!